Hello friends and welcome back to Picture Astrology. Today we are going to talk about the great astrological combinations which can turn someone literally from beggar to a big star. Now I have literally started writing for a new web news portal, and the editor brought to my attention that Ranu Mondal in India has become a big singing sensation, and she was actually begging on a railway platform until few days ago, when somebody discovered and posted her singing videos online, and now she's everywhere. She is actually singing in Bollywood movies, etc. And he asked me that what astrological combination can do something like this, that can transform someone from a beggar to a star. And my first reaction was that generally this happens in Saturn Venus time period. Saturn Mahadasha in Venus Antardasha, that is connected with amazing and absolutely unexpected gains in life, unexpected fame in life. Now another Indian superstar, Amitabh Bachchan, he actually attained his superstardom in Saturn Venus time. Before that he was struggling. He actually had a slew of flop movies, and when this time period came, he first gave his super hit movie, and after that he never looked back. And there are many astrological reasons why this Saturn Venus behave in this unexpected way as it does. We will look into that in some time. But similar to Saturn and Venus, there are some other combination like Mars and Moon, and the other one is Mars and Sun. These two combinations are also related with something unexpected, sudden gains. But when it comes to an unexpected fame in the field of arts, that is more or less related to Saturn Venus time period only. So as I shared this thought, I asked that editor friend of mine if he had the date and time so that I can chart a horoscope for this person. And he did find me the date of birth, but he was not aware of the time. So what I did was I applied birth time rectification techniques. Now these are the techniques which can be applied to find out the correct birth time of a horoscope or of a native. At best you need an approximately correct date at least, and in this case we knew the date as well as the place of birth. So I used two of the BTR techniques, and they were mathematical techniques for most part, and figured out that the time of birth was about around 11:05 AM. The details of the birth chart would be given in the description if you want to cast your own. And here was the horoscope which came up. Now let's see. So based on this horoscope, let's see, does it show about poverty? Does it show that the person might live in abject poverty for some time, at least in life? So first of all, there are certain yogas which are described as yogas of poverty. The biggest yoga of the poverty is when the Lord of the Lagna, which is the first house Lord, goes into the 12th house, and this becomes even more pronounced when the Lord of the 12th is also with it. Now you see this horoscope. The horoscope has 10th sign rising, which is the Capricorn, and the Lord of the Capricorn is Saturn. Saturn is sitting in the 12th house, and Saturn is in the sign of Sagittarius. Now Saturn is a slow moving planet, whereas Sagittarius is a fiery sign. Saturn is never comfortable in this environment. And to add to that, Mars has a direct aspect on this, which adds further fiery character and adds to the discomfort of Saturn. Now Saturn being the Lagna Lord, that has to be placed well if the person has to live a good life. Now Saturn is also with the 12th Lord. The Lord of Sagittarius is Jupiter. So 12th Lord is right there sitting with the Lagna Lord in the 12th house, which is the house of expenses, every kind of expenses. And the second house, which generally shows the money or the family and the wealth of the family in which you are born, that has Ketu, which is not a good sign. Though Saturn has an aspect to it, which means that she was at least able to feed herself early in life. It wasn't that she was, there is the kind of poverty which many people are born in where they even could not feed themselves well. So that probably was not the case. However, this is a big poverty yoga. And from the information we have, that early in life, her initial part of her life was okay because she was born in the Moon Mahadasha, which ran for about 8-9 years of her life. But after that, her life became even more difficult. Now, it's not that she was always a beggar. Okay, she actually got separated from her mom and dad early in life, and that's very clear because 10th house, which shows father, has Sun debilitated, and Sun is the lord of the 8th house. And I will make a video of this particular position, but when Sun is debilitated in the 10th house, being the lord of 8th, generally causes early separation from mom and dad. It could be just a physical separation too. Many times it could be just that the person is raised by somebody else in the family because the father and mother has to live away for various reasons. It could be because of the work, professional life, or family problems, etc. And the same happened with this horoscope also. Now let's talk about the married life. The lord of the marriage house, the 7th house, Moon, is exalted in the 5th house. And for what we know, her married life was happy one. They weren't too rich, but she was doing well with her husband. She also had a girl child because 5th house has exalted Moon aspected by Venus, the lord of its 5th house itself. However, the longevity of the marriage, that depends, meaning how long the married or married partners will stay together, that is dependent on 8th house, and that is a bit afflicted. I'm not going to go into details of it, but because of this, she had to actually suffer from widowhood. And that happened when Saturn was transiting this 8th house, or Saturn was in the sign of Leo. As soon as the Saturn entered this sign of Leo, she actually lost her husband. The Dasha also supported that. And after that, some of her most troublesome times started in life. And it was only after that that she somewhat became a beggar, singing on the railway platform and getting money from people. Now, all along that, the Dasha Bhukti also supported, because that was the time of Rahu and Jupiter. These two are definitely the worst malefic in this horoscope. Yes, Jupiter being the natural benefic still is a big malefic in this horoscope, because it is placed in 12th and it is the lord of 12th and the 3rd house. So during the entire Dasha of Rahu and Guru, which actually runs a long time, 35 plus years, she had to go through a very difficult life. Now, one thing to note is, in these kind of horoscopes, when Moon is exalted and is associated with at least some benefic like Venus and Jupiter is in 12th house, even though the person goes through a lot of hardship, for some reason they are still able to keep an optimistic outlook of life. And same happened with this lady's horoscope as well. Now let's just focus on that sudden fame. For a sudden fame to materialize, there are two things which should happen. One, there should be yogas for fame at least. There should be some basic fame causing yoga in the chart, and that is there. The biggest thing is moon is exalted in the 5th house. 5th house is invariably associated with both creativity as well as popularity, and the lord of this house is Venus, which is in the 11th house. That is also very good placement for being able to being well known. And Venus Moon combination in the axis of 5 and 11 also causes good singing ability or any other artistic capabilities. And Ranu Mondal was actually a singer since childhood. Before marriage, in her adult life, and even after marriage, she actually sang for some of the orchestras, some of the local orchestras, though she did not get that much fame. Now, presence of Saturn in the 10th house, that invariably also means that the person will have to work alone, but eventually they would become well recognized. So there are some basic fame causing yogas already present in this horoscope. Now we'll see what happened now that she become such a big name. Being famous could also mean that you are well known in your town or in your city. There are always orchestras and singers whose name is restricted within a small geographical area. What caused this sudden fame which made her a household name in the biggest country or the second largest country in the world? So that sudden and grand thing comes with Saturn Venus Dasha. She's currently running her Saturn Mahadasha, and her Venus Antardasha started sometime in 2018 and will go on until 2021. She, at this moment when she is really popular across India, is running Saturn, Venus and Moon combination. So we have Saturn, Venus and Moon. Now remember, the key factor here is Saturn and Venus. That is one combination. Whenever in your horoscope you undergo this time period, it is always going to be an eventful time. This time never goes without some major happening. Now, how good or big that event will be, that depends on the inherent strength and weakness of your horoscope. But one thing is for sure, Saturn-Venus combination, that time of Saturn-Venus does not go by just like an ordinary time. According to your life, according to your horoscope, there would be sudden changes, sudden upheaval during that Saturn-Venus time for sure. And in this case with Ranu Mondal, she really became a superstar, just like Amitabh Bachchan became in Saturn-Venus with this combination. Now there are many other combinations in this chart which can be looked at to know that she was actually suffering from some kind of congenital disease when she was born, why she was separated from her child or only children for some time, though we know that she has returned back to her, and there are probably some remedies which she could have done also. So maybe these things we will analyze and learn in the next video. So I